In the northern Israel town of Harish, the mayor was arrested in April, the middle of April, and the police accused him of molesting different women, supposedly. And they kept him in jail for over 3 months. And then they let him go home to house arrest. And in the process, he was forced to resign from his duties as mayor, or to be removed from his duties as mayor, even though he's still officially the mayor. And I want to speak very briefly about this because I think that, unfortunately, it shows the unprofessionality of the Israeli police in many ways. And the lack of a firm tradition of civil rights and a system of people being investigated in a way which doesn't violate their rights. One of the things that helped me understand what was going on a little bit was an article that appeared about 3 weeks after, even though I didn't see it too much later, but there was an article in Walla News that came out in the middle of May. One second, I have the exact dates here. On May 18th, there's an article by Yoav Atiel in Walla News. And this was just almost a month because the mayor was arrested 2 days after Passover, after the holiday of Pesach, on the 21st of April of 2025. 5785 in the Hebrew calendar. And in this article, it was very revealing. I would say that the article was very negative toward the mayor and very suspicious and accusing. And one of the interesting things they did there, Yoav ATL, was he actually interviewed or spoke to 2 people from the police unit, the Lahav 433, who carried out the investigation. He spoke to the head of it and also the head of the Northern District Division of Lahav 433. So here, by the way, is one of the actual problems of the Israeli police, and that is that they speak to the journalists and they tell them things and their opinions about investigations. In my opinion, that's inappropriate. Their job is not to be speaking to the press. Their job is to investigate things, and then it's the state attorney's job to conduct the trials. And honestly, I don't believe that they should be dropping all types of information about these cases before they're tried. That's my opinion. I think it's quite unprofessional. But unfortunately, that's often how things work in Israel, that the police are talking and telling things to the media about their investigations. Not unusual. In any case, so what they want to say is they did an investigation over a number of months, and then they covered a period going back 4 or 5 years. The mayor was mayor for over 10 years now, and going back 4 or 5 years, they interviewed a lot of people who worked in the area. Not all of them worked in the area. Some of them were people who came to the area for various matters and needing personal help or other things. And they said that they got a number of women to say that the mayor touched them or hugged them or did things like this to them. And the police said that because we think he is dangerous to the public, therefore we have to keep him under arrest while this investigation is going on, they asked over 8 times to extend the detention of him, and the court granted it until the end. Finally, the local court here in Hadera said, no, you just have to send him home already. And then the state attorney's office from Haifa issued an appeal, saying, no, we think he has to be in for longer. We're appealing that, so that managed to keep him in for another 3 weeks. And in the midst of this, they managed to force him from his position. The state attorney, the Yoetzet Mishpati, the Memshala, the what we call, loosely translated in English, the state attorney, she, from the very beginning, set up the process where he would be removed from office because he was accused of a crime, not convicted, but accused of a crime that has moral turpitude. And this is a rule that they put in like 2013, that this process can be done under those circumstances. So here, simply because he's accused of these things, so therefore they say, oh, now we have to stop him from being mayor, which I think is a little ridiculous myself. Maybe their accusations are false. So why should someone be removed from their job before they've been proven to be guilty of anything? That seems to go against the whole due process tradition. In any case, so in the end, and then they were throwing out, also in the press, as is their wont, the police were throwing out the accusations that there were people who were accusing him of rape, and in the end, no one actually was willing to sign that they raped him, even though, according to the police in this article, which they had with Yoav ATL, they said there were testimonies to that, but in the end, no one wanted to actually sign on to it. Okay. Meantime, you're just accusing people of things, and in the end, they found 5 women, I believe, 5 women who were willing to say that they did something to them. What it is not exactly sure. One went on TV during this process and said they were sitting in a car and he put his hand on their leg. Okay, that's what happened, and according to her. And we don't know what the other things were, but in this article they also say that there was an effort made by the mayor and his associates to try to keep this woman from talking. They gave gifts to their children. They what else? There was various things of a not very scary nature, which they said they tried to get these women not to talk to the police about these things. And that's also one of the reasons I said I had to keep him in jail, because he might obstruct the investigation. And in the end, as I said, there's 5 women said that he did certain things to them, and then on the strength of that, he was kept in jail for 3 months, and then he was finally had to leave for house arrest. Not that he's free; he just has to stay in his home. It's not that he's actually free, but he has to stay in his home, and he's not serving as mayor anymore. So that's really, in my mind, quite shocking. I'd like to just say briefly why. First of all, maybe these women are telling the truth, maybe they're not. Okay, so until there's actual proof, I don't see why anyone should be kept in jail. That's number one. Number two, no other politician in Israeli history, and also in American history that I know of, has actually been in jail when accused of some sexual crime, alleged sexual crime. For example, Chaim Ramon was accused by a soldier, woman soldier who was finishing her service, who was working in his office, of grabbing her and giving him a deep kiss. Okay, he was questioned in by the police for a number of hours over a course of a couple of days, and in no time was he held in jail. He just had to be in the police station for a few hours. Other politicians, similar things. As far as I recall, Yitzhak Mordechai, the defense minister, he was accused of different things. He never sat any time in jail. And in fact, even when he was finally sentenced to convicted, they believe these women, or at least one of them, not all of them, So he had a suspended sentence, meaning actually never actually sat in jail at all. And let's take the case in America. Look, Bill Clinton. Bill Clinton was accused by many women over the time, but I mean, one of the most famous case was Monica Lewinsky. There was a lot of things that happened supposedly happened when he was still mayor, was still governor of Arkansas. So let's just talk about the 8 years he was in the White House. So the Monica Lewinsky was an intern there, and they had something going on there, evidently between them, and then they didn't have, according to the president, something you could actually defined as the S word, but whatever they were doing there, it was more than a game of backgammon, it seems, and okay, it wasn't. I mean, obviously this girl wasn't forced to do this. This was something she did willingly. But then at a certain point, she started talking about it. I mean, she's sort of like breaking the unbroken rule, right? You have an affair with someone, you're not supposed to later talk about it. But okay, I mean, not that anyone should have an affair with anyone, but I'm just saying, let's keep this in perspective. I'm trying to say these are consensual things that people were doing. But then she decided to talk about it. And then the Republicans had tried to impeach him, which is also a ridiculous response, in my opinion. I mean, if and when anything is made public about these affairs, so I really think it's up to the electorate to decide whether they want to get rid of someone or not based on it. I don't see why it's a issue for impeachment or for imprisonment or removing from office. The current president of America, Donald Trump. So a woman won a civil suit against him because she accused him of raping him. She was some sort of reporter or something, and this is going back a number of years. And she won a $5 million civil suit against him. But, that was a civil suit, so there wasn't any risk of going to jail. And unfortunately for her, he has money. So whether he raped her or not, I don't know. No one was there except for them. So it's her word against his. But she managed to win $5 million against him in a civil suit. And that's really, I think, the way these things should be dealt with. If any of these women, and by the way, in this article they point out that these women receive favors, like one became a corona monitor, another became an assistant in a preschool. Now these jobs are these are jobs that anyone can get. I mean, basically you have to be able to walk and talk to get these jobs. The Gans here in this city and every city are always looking for assistants. They're advertising right and left. So to say that he somehow awarded her this job because of some favor is just sort of ridiculous. Also, they say that most of these women were either divorced or separated from their spouses. Some were single mothers. So again, it wasn't even if he did anything. I don't know if he did anything. I don't really care. But I'm just talking about it from a legal standpoint. That if he did anything with them, or this is a moral standpoint also, I mean, it was, it wasn't even interfering in anyone's marriage per se. In most cases, it seems. But and so whether these women did or not agree to do these things, I suspect that they probably did in most cases. So I don't, so that's wrong. I mean, that's a moral issue, and I would judge that when I would, if that could be proven, if there are some witnesses besides the women themselves to any of this. So I would take that in consideration the next time I go to the ballot box to vote for the mayor, certainly. But otherwise, I don't see why this is pertinent. And I suspect that in most of these cases it was something that the women agreed to. That's also why he was trying to, if it's true, all these stories. So that's why he's trying to make them silent by sending them gifts and different things. I mean, if he actually molested them, so I don't think they would just be trying to make them silent by giving them gifts. The point is it's like saying, sweetheart, okay, we did. And why are you making a big deal of this now? Why are you giving me problems? And it reminds me very much. I told you there was the president of Israel, Moshe Katsav, who sat in jail for 5 years of a 7-year sentence because one of his former secretaries, when he was the Ministry of Tourism, one of the ridiculous ministries we have in Israel, the Ministry of Tourism. So they went to a hotel, I guess, to check out the hotel, and then they ended up having relations. And then they did it another time, another day. And so then she later, years later, started to say, oh, but he raped me. And the court believed her, not him. And he ended up going to jail for that. He also had letters from her in between showing the affectionate letters from her. So it seems to me that clearly what happened there, if I won't say clearly because none of this is clear, but it seems logical and likely that what happened there is that he had a relationship with his secretary and they went to the hotel, and later she decided to try to get something out of him for it, and and so she claimed that this wasn't consensual. And I suspect that if that's what's happening in probably these cases here, if anything, maybe not, maybe also, maybe he was intrusive. I don't know. I wasn't there, but whether it was or it wasn't, I don't think that it's cause to put someone under arrest. For 3 months, and also to remove him from office. I think it's just, if these people want to bring civil suits against him, they should. And this whole thing, I really think is wrong. And I will close by saying it was interesting that around the same time that Yitzchak Keshet came home, finally after 3 months to house arrest, there was a woman in Israel who was accused of trying to assassinate Prime Minister Bibi Netanyahu, and the police managed to find out about this plan, and they arrested her, but they questioned her for a short time, and then they sent her home to house arrest. Can you believe that? So here at the same time they're saying Yitzchak Keshet is a danger to the public, and therefore he has to be in actual jail for 3 months. So here this woman actually wanted to kill someone. She goes home to house arrest. Okay, so again, I don't know all the little details of these things, but it seems to me on the face of it that there is a discrepancy here and an inequality between how different people are treated, and as much to say to her, well, better luck next time or whatnot. I don't know what message they're trying to send her. It seems like trying to assassinate someone is something that maybe they would be a danger. They should be maybe more in house arrest. But I don't know more of the details. But you can look it up in the paper yourself. That happened in July in Israel, July of this year, 25. All right, thanks for listening, and let's hope that the police get better here in Israel.